You and Chris are going to be in here talking about God knows what.
All I'm saying, is there a reason? People say, well, why don't you video your program? No.
Some things are better left unseen.
Yes, they are. Folks, I'm just going to tell you something right here. I don't care how old you are. I don't. When you get around people you've known since you've been in elementary school, you act just like you did back then. It's like Beavis and Butthead Redux. So, hey guys, welcome to the Retro Show podcast. My name is Butch Renfro, and this is...
I'm Chris Curtis. Yeah. Usually when I'm leaving the room, but tonight, they're happy.
There you go. Guys, if you joined us here, we're so glad to have you. We thank you for listening. Retroshow.net is where you can find all the information about this podcast, where to listen to it, especially. You can find us anywhere basically you get your podcast. Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible.
Probably not your cousin Jimmy's, though.
That's right. So when you run out of book credits on Audible, just bring up the podcast and listen to us. There you go. Yep. Google Podcast, Stitcher, iHeart, and CastBox are all the places that you can find us. So basically, if you're sitting in your buddy's car and you're listening to this and you're going, hey, man, where can I find this podcast? Well, it's retroshow.net. And I'm sure that you actually don't sound like that.
Is there any way that they can support the podcast?
I'm so glad you asked. Also, if you go to retroshow.net, and right up there in the menu at the top, you'll see a thing up there to support the podcast. And so if you've ever wanted to be a producer, you might want to put it on a business card, maybe on your resume. Who knows? But did you know you can do that by a mere $3 a month? Not a week, not a day, a month, to support the Retro Show and be a part of our Producers Club. Guess what they get for that $3? Chris?
I don't know. Tell me.
Well, first of all, they get the satisfaction of knowing that they're supporting good quality programming, and also this show. And but here's the part right here: for the first 30 people who sign up to support the podcast, they will get a shout out on each and every episode that we produce. We'll go right through the list.
If I know you, I will make it so special.
It will be so nice.
It'll be special.
It'll be so nice. You can. We call it the Producers Club, and because it's catchy.
It is catchy.
And have you ever seen the play The Producers? That's the one and only Broadway show Debbie and I ever saw.
I don't know that I've seen
on
that.
Broadway. It's hilarious, dude. It's a Mel Brooks thing. So there's that.
Mel Brooks. I know that's not what the show is today, but he's got a couple of 2 or 3 movies out there that, again, I will stop and start watching and laugh.
Laugh the entire time.
If you've never seen A History of the World Part 1, highly recommend it.
Yep.
Blazing Saddles, which if it was made
Spaceballs.
If Blazing Saddles was made today, it would be about 30 seconds long.
It'd be 30 seconds long.
It would say Blazing Saddles, the end. That would be it because, dude, LA would burn.
We have to cancel this man. But yes, that was that's a Mel Brooks.
Spaceballs is great too.
Spaceballs is great, which was it was great because I remember you and I went to see that movie in the late '80s together. I'd come in from Hot Springs, and you and I went to see it at the theater.
We saw a lot of movies together, Butch. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, we saw a lot of movies.
We had our own seats in the theater, by the way.
We did, by the way, back in that was the old theater.
Us and the Clegg twins.
Yeah. Some people call etching your initials into a seat rest vandalism. We just call it marking our area.
Yeah, that was our chairs.
Yeah, it was our chairs. And you don't need to be in there. Folks, like I said, retroshow.net to find all of that good, fun stuff out. You can also get to our Facebook page from there, which people have been interacting with us on the Facebooks.
On the Facebooks.
On the Facebooks, as some of the older
You can't
folks
get
might
that
say.
down at the Walmarts.
at the Walmarts. Walmarts. Yes. You can also get, like I said, anything you need to find us, retroshow.net. Because .com was already taken.
We're going to hunt them down. We need to pull a Jay and Silent Bob on them and find them.
I'm telling you, man, we had to go Tony Soprano on this guy.
No, we'll go old school. We'll go Luco Brazzi on him.
Luco Brazzi.
You either sign it or either your signature or your brains will be on the contract.
Oh, you're making me. I'm very upset about this. You took the .com. You're not even using it.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, welcome to the program today. Today, it's a sweet show.
It is a sweet show.
It is a sweet show. We are talking about breakfast cereal for kids. Now, in the 70s, breakfast cereal, basically, if you watch Saturday morning programs or Saturday afternoon programs, a lot of the commercials were for breakfast cereals.
Yep.
And today, Chris and I are going to be talking about our favorite breakfast cereal for kids. Now, to me, this is just me. It may be different for you. To be a breakfast cereal for kids, it has to be sweetened, okay, with sugar, real sugar, on there. Shredded wheat, not a kid cereal. And they can frost it all they want to, not a kid cereal, okay. Anything with bran in the name.
Yeah, that was out.
Yeah, nope, not a kid cereal.
Or nuts.
Nope. So regular Cheerios, not a kid cereal. I'm on the fence about Honey Nut. I think Honey Nut
that came out later, though. In life,
it did come out. It came out like when we were in high school.
We were eating regular Cheerios.
But we were eating regular Cheerios by then, which basically, I tell these kids, back in our day, we only had one Cheerio, and it tasted like cardboard unless you poured a half cup of sugar in there. And that's just the way it was, So, what are some of your favorite breakfast foods? It's just going a breakfast tangent.
Dude,
here.
there was a bunch.
What's your favorite breakfast? Breakfast food today. Breakfast food. If you're just going to say, I'm going to have breakfast, what are you having?
Biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy. Yes.
With a side of bacon.
With a side of bacon. For our friends in the UK, we don't mean cookies.
Nope.
Okay. And I know a lot of you guys listen. And I know that's a bone of contention for some of you, but biscuits over here are not like biscuits over there. Think of them as savory scones.
Yep.
Savory scones with a nice...
No sweet to them, buddy.
No sweet to them. And you throw some sausage gravy on top of that, just fantastic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I'll do every morning. You see, once again, folks, almost live from the palatial retroshow.net studios, which my wife calls the dining room, but there you go. Also over here, you see over here on this counter over here in the palatial studios, we have buttermilk English muffins. That's my go-to in the morning as I make myself at it, is that instead of going to McDonald's.
See, you UK people, we're not haters. We eat English muffins.
That's right. Buttermilk English muffins.
Buttermilk English muffins.
Right.
And I still see the Little Debbie snacks over there.
And the Little Debbie snacks are still over there. He's been eyeballing those.
And for you in the UK, if you don't have Little Debbie,
we're sorry. It's our snack cakes.
They are.
And they're quite good. But yes, breakfast cereals. Now, a lot of my ones that I mentioned, you can't find today. Because I went back and went online and found a bunch of cereals that I went, oh yeah, I remember those. Now, we haven't talked about this yet.
Nope.
But what's the most important thing about what we chose, why we chose the cereals?
What was the prize inside?
It was the prize inside. Listen, you guys don't know. You don't know. The whole commercial would be built around what you could get.
That's right.
That month in that breakfast cereal. And you having a brother, I'm sure that was a fight to...
Not really.
Really?
With him being 4 years older, I mean, and my brother is an awesome dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. He was always looking out for me when I was younger. Now, I didn't get to go with him everywhere that he went. There was a time in my life where I kept a pocket knife in my back pocket because he would tie me up. So I couldn't follow him, and I became quite the escape artist.
Houdini didn't have nothing on me.
Well, he was doing things he didn't want me to see.
Yeah.
It was the 70s.
It was the 70s.
If you've ever seen Dazed and Confused,
true story.
That was my brother.
Close enough. Isn't it? All right. So we're going to come back in just a moment. And when we do come back, we're talking breakfast cereals for kids that we loved.
From the day. Not today, from the day.
From the day.
Yep.
Hey guys, it's Butch from the Retro Show. Listen, I would like to take this moment right now and thank the people who support our podcast as podcast producers. And they are Joshua Ramsey, Fran Adams, E.M., Bradford Mason, and Tanya Highland. They have taken the initiative to become a podcast producer. You can too. Go to retroshow.net, click on support the podcast, and you can find out how you can support us for a mere $3 a month. Just $3 a month, and the first 30 people who sign up at that level will be forever enshrined as podcast producers on The Retro Show. So it's real easy to do. Just go to retroshow.net and click on Support the Podcast. We love all of you, and we thank you for listening.
Well, if you're still sticking with us, you obviously want to talk about breakfast cereals. And so, I was looking. There are so many great commercials from back in the day that I remember. Mikey, he likes it, which I think they aired for like 30-something years.
It had to be something, but that was a good cereal.
That was a good cereal. I still buy that.
I like it.
I still buy that.
It's Life if you haven't
caught on yet.
Yep.
If you're young and you don't know.
Life cereal, but it wasn't the top. That was one you could get past Mom.
Yeah, because it was kind of healthy, but it was still kind of
really
sweet. Because here's how they.
It just looked healthy.
Here's how they fooled them. They put the sugar on the inside.
Yep, and it was
Life
good.
Cereal. The sugar was on the inside. Now, it looked like your usual fiber-filled garbage that you had on like the healthy cereals, but they snuck the sugar on the inside, and it was really good. So anyway, Life made my list. How about you? So you too?
Life was later, probably around the early teen years. I started eating Life because we could get it past Mom.
Yeah.
But I had grandparents that lived in town, and we would go stay with my grandparents because they had cable. We didn't have cable.
No, we didn't have cable.
Not out in the country.
Not out in the country where we lived.
We didn't have cable, but they had cable, and so we would go spend the night with them. And my grandma, bless her, she would buy anything
that you wanted.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, there was a lot of Count Chocula. And Frankenberry. Those were staples over there. And then I'm gonna go to my number one, which was also there. There were two from the same brand that was phenomenal. I don't know how I didn't end up in the emergency room. And people, when I mention this cereal, you'll know why. No, bleeding profusely from the mouth. So.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about now. Yes, I'm not going to say it because I know. Yeah.
All right. Do I need to keep going?
I was just going to say that that like these are in no particular order. We're not ranking these today. We're just talking. This is an homage.
Yeah, this is what we ate.
Before school and on Saturday mornings. Now, generally, I was up before my parents on Saturday mornings.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, but Mom and Dad would always get up early on Sunday and make a big breakfast spread. So it wasn't cereal on that day.
And my dad could cook, so that happened a lot at my house too.
Yep. But this is 8-year-old Butch's list because, like I said, I went through and I did a deep dive on these old cereals here. So Crazy Cow.
Don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one? I do. It made chocolate milk in a bowl. Basically, it was still General Mills. It was made by the same people who made Cocoa Puffs. Yeah. All they did is they put more stuff on it. So it was like Cocoa Puffs with more Cocoa Puff stuff.
Well, and an interesting side note to that, Cocoa Pebbles made some really good chocolate milk.
Cocoa Pebbles made great. So I'm just going to go ahead and just tell you. You had basically Kellogg's and General Mills and Post. That was your three ones. And they all had like competing types of cereals. So there were Cocoa Krispies, and then you had Cocoa Pebbles.
Yep.
Cocoa Pebbles were.
That had the Flintstones on it too, so that was a big deal.
But it was far superior.
It was. Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles were both.
Fruity Pebbles, yep.
Dude, you bring out a box of that today, I'd be all over it like a fat kid on a cupcake.
Okay. And then, of course, you already mentioned Count Chocolate, but the Monster cereals.
Yep. Frankenberry, Count Chocula, and
Blueberry and Fruit Brute, which was Fruit Brute.
Yep. I remember that too.
Okay, so here's an interesting little side note that I did during my research of the monster cereals. In February of 1972, Frankenberry cereal included an indigestible pigment, which turns some children's poo pink.
Sweet.
Which apparently caused a big run to emergency rooms and doctors everywhere by concerned parents, and a symptom sometimes referred to as Frankenberry stool, which to me is a great metal band. I'm sorry, that's a great band name.
That's funny, man, because y'all, I'm sorry. I played disc golf, and you get with some disc golfers sometime, and we were starting to name bands, just great names for bands. And there was a caterpillar that wouldn't get off the tee pad, and most disc golfers are nature lovers anyway. And you know, this guy pushed it off the tee pad, gently pushed it off the tee pad. Don't kill the caterpillar. Well, the caterpillar comes right back, and I'm like, it's Caterpillar Suicide. And he's like, man, that's a hell of a band name.
Caterpillar Suicide.
Caterpillar Suicide. And then,
who you seeing tonight? I think the lineup is Frankenberry Stool and Caterpillar Suicide. Oh man! So anyway, going.
It was a rabbit hole. Sorry.
That's okay. It's part of the charm of the show. I think people like the rabbit holes more so than the stuff we actually talk about. You mentioned one thing that cut the roof of your mouth. I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably Captain Crunch.
It is Captain Crunch.
Okay, with or without Crunch Berries?
I was going to say that's the two.
That's the two.
Crunch Berries and then Captain Crunch. It didn't matter. Either one.
Either one was good.
Awesome.
Either one. But I'm going to tell you, you know what we have in this cabinet in the adjoining room to the retroshow.net annex here?
Better known as the kitchen.
Also known as the kitchen. Up in the pantry, we have peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Oh my gosh.
Which is Debbie's favorite.
I love peanut butter Captain Crunch.
Peanut butter Captain Crunch is really good. That's good stuff.
I swear, you can give me chocolate, peanut butter, anything, and I'm going to eat it.
Yep.
That's a great combination.
That is. It's two great tastes that taste great
together.
You got your chocolate and my peanut butter. You got your peanut butter and my chocolate.
I forgot about that commercial.
Yep.
That's pretty funny.
That was the Reese's commercial, or as a lot of people say, the Reese's commercial.
It's Reese's. It's pronounced Reese's.
Oh, okay. Good.
It is.
Good to know. Now, also in the mid-'70s, the Captain Crunch line, do you remember this? There was a character called Jean Lafoot that was on the commercials. He was a pirate. He was the arch nemesis, and they launched his own cereal to compete with the captains. It was Jean Lafoot's Cinnamon Crunch. I remember that as a kid, and here's what I remember: the local Piggly Wiggly that we had then.
Dude, I spent a lot of time there.
Dad and I were in there, and that was on the shelf. And I remember it was a new cereal, which I was always sucker for a new one.
What was the prize?
And then it was the prize. and listen. They used to throw these in these different ones, but if you could ever get the one that had the baking soda submarines,
those were awesome.
Those were fantastic.
They really were. I mean, some of these toys are really cool.
They were good.
Yeah,
it's like
it ain't like the McDonald's crap you get. Today.
I mean, they were legit toys in there.
Yep.
Now you'll tear them up in a week, but still, they were legit toys in there, and you would pick which cereal that you wanted, partly based on what toy was in there, and
that's how you tried new cereals too. By the way, to get away, because Captain Crunch was a mainstay. But
it was.
I want the Sugar Smacks.
They also had back in the day Pink Panther Flakes.
I remember that.
Okay, and really all it was Frosted Flakes.
Yep.
With pink.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if that caused, different colored poo either, but I know that they had that back in the day. But yeah, and then Quiz.
Can you imagine some 5-year-old kid? Mom, my poo's
pink. I'm dying.
It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. They either think they're dying or it's the coolest thing ever. I was the coolest thing ever kid. Whoa! It's probably more information than people ever wanted to know about me.
That's right.
Quisp.
Quisp. I remember Quisp.
Yeah, they had
absolutely. That was
Quisp
actually
and Quake.
one of my brother's favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, but all of the breakfast cereals back in the day. I mean, on Saturday mornings, you would get up. First, you'd go get whatever cereal that you had, and you'd sit down to watch your Saturday morning programs. But it was. But every commercial back then was either for breakfast cereals or toys.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, by the way, another show we're going to do. Yeah. It's not small. No. Honeycomb's got a big bite, big taste, and a big bite.
You think we watched that a lot?
Yeah, you think that wasn't that has
50 years ago.
That's permanent residence. That's hard coded in the brain. That's something that's never going away. I'll be in a nursing home someday, and I won't know my name, but I'll sing that song.
I've said that to a lot of people. Can you imagine what the nursing home's going to be like in 20 or 30 years?
Oh, tattoos.
Van Halen.
Sticks. Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Curtis, can you turn your stereo down?
Shut up and leave me alone.
It's got to be played loud.
If it's too loud, you're too old. Or I'm too deaf.
True story.
True story right there. But yeah.
Honeycomb was a big cereal.
Honeycomb's huge. It was a big one now. Today, when I buy cereal, I try to get something healthy, and then I get something that's not.
I don't
because I balance it out.
I don't ever buy anything unhealthy.
Because
today I can't. With my medical conditions,
right.
I cannot. But
I say it's for my son.
I don't
Ryan.
even eat cereal anymore. So
I say it's for my son Ryan. But then I'll have a bowl every once in a while. Some people have desserts. I just have a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, and that's, you know what? That's a meal.
Yeah, it is. Because if you believe the advertising back in the day, it's chock full of vitamins. Now, what would a chock full mean?
I don't know.
But they used to say it was chock full of vitamins. It's chock full of something.
I'll tell you this, man, and then I was thinking about this on the way over here because I knew what the topic was going to be. And, we were in Scouts together for a short time, and your dad took us on a camping trip up to Cove Creek.
Yep.
And that is the first time I ever had plain cornflakes.
Yeah.
With just milk. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
I would still eat cornflakes to this day and did.
Yeah.
Without sugar, without anything, just the cornflakes, milk. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten now where I don't put a half gallon of sugar into,
right.
When I'm eating healthy cereal. But, back in the day, you had
to add sugar.
You had to throw some sugar in there.
Especially if it was, you were at, their other grandma's house that only had cornflakes and she didn't buy Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes. So you had to add your own sugar.
So chasing a rabbit here. One thing I remember about your grandma is that we went over to her house one day. And this is what grandmas do. And it doesn't matter if you're actually their grandkid or not. It's what grandmas do. Did you boys eat yet? No, ma'am, we did not. Well, you just sit down here, and she made us like this lunch with made gravy and everything right there just to make us lunch. Yep. It was grandmas are awesome.
I had, like everybody, I had two grandmas. One grandma, my mom's mom, was her mom died at an early age, and of course that was during the Depression,
right,
and all of that, the 20s before the Depression. But she took over all the cooking duties for the family, and she had a not a big family, but for today's standards,
right,
4 or 5 kids, that's a lot, plus field hands, plus whatever. And buddy, she could flat cook.
Yeah.
The other grandma didn't cook as well, but the things she did cook was really good.
Yeah.
But my mom's mom made homemade macaroni and cheese, which was freaking phenomenal. Yes. But my grandma here in town made the box Kraft macaroni and cheese, which I still love today.
I love that today.
Yeah. I mean, either one was really good. So it's all on how you look at things.
I think a lot of people have a grandma that can cook and a grandma that maybe not so well. And that was the case. My dad always said, now my dad was a phenomenal, anything that I know about cooking, and I can cook a little.
No, he can cook really good. Don't let him lie to you.
Anything that I learned how to cook, I first learned how from my dad. Well, my dad did not learn from my grandmother. He said he learned how to cook out of self-defense.
Yeah.
And I can confirm. And whenever we went down there, let's say I never asked for seconds.
Oh,
and this poor woman.
Is this your dad's mom?
It was my dad's mom. It was Grandma Ira, and she was not a great cook at all. Dad learned how to cook by when his job. He went to junior college before he went to Oklahoma A&M.
Right.
But he got all of his his first 2 years at a junior college at Tishomingo, Oklahoma, and he learned how to cook because he worked in the mess hall, and this guy that ran it taught him how to cook. And that's how he learned.
Well, my dad was a phenomenal cook also,
Yep.
but he grew up, my granddad was constantly buying businesses and selling businesses, and I grew up in a florist here, which was basically my grandmother's shop, but they had a restaurant in Batesville, and my dad was a short order cook.
Yeah.
Over there.
You have to learn how to cook well.
Yeah, and then when he went to the Army, he was a cook.
He was a cook.
Yep.
So he learned how to cook for a lot of people. He was a
bulldozer operator and a cook.
A bulldozer operator and a cook.
Yep.
Man, it's amazing.
It is, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just things go well. Here's homework for you kids out there that has never seen this movie. 16 Candles. It's hilarious. The movie is hysterical, but there are two grandmas in there, and you will get a dose of one that can cook
and one that can't. Yes, it's the two different types of grannies. And
one of them opens a box of donuts. And breakfast is served.
And
voila.
breakfast is served. Voila. My grandma Ira, she was born and raised in southeast Oklahoma, and she, they were all dirt poor.
Yeah.
And she just couldn't cook,
Some people got it, some people don't.
That's why my grandpa was so skinny. And he was a small little man. But yeah, and then I had my mom's mother, Thelma, just an amazing cook. As a matter of fact, she came to watch me one time when my parents had to go out of town. And that woman cooked for me every meal, and I was going,
Grandmas are special, man.
This is fantastic.
Grandmas are special.
They are special.
They really are.
But getting back to breakfast cereals, man. I mean, it's just a big part of being a kid in the 70s and 80s, I think, was just.
I don't think everybody was as health conscious as they are now.
Definitely
no.
not.
I mean, really and truly, we ate stuff.
We ate garbage, but
it's all good.
let's just be honest. Pop-Tarts has vitamins in it. Yeah, because they put them in there.
Do you? Speaking of Pop-Tarts, do you like the frosted Pop-Tarts?
I do.
I do not.
I mean,
I do.
So
I'll
you're
eat
the
them.
one they make them for.
They don't make them. You can't find them.
You can't find unfrosted.
You can't find unfrosted Pop-Tarts anymore. It drives me crazy.
I thought I saw some at the grocery store not that long ago.
Because, in Scouts, that was a staple.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts were a staple in Scouts. You always had a box of Pop-Tarts because, if it's pouring down rain, you couldn't get the fire started.
You can have Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts.
For sure. Honeycomb was a big cereal for me, which we mentioned a while ago.
Yeah.
Sugar Smacks.
Sugar Smacks are solid.
They were solid.
Do you remember these? You could buy the little boxes of cereal. Yeah. And you could cut open the top and make your own bowl right in the box.
Yep.
Unless you're like me and you ram the steak knife all the way through. And you get milk on the carpet. And all of a sudden you're getting yelled at. But the dog loves you.
You got a huge variety in that pack.
You did.
You got and then there was always one you didn't want.
There's always the Rice Krispies that were just left at the very last.
They were.
The Rice Krispies were always left at the last. Poor Rice Krispies.
What was it? Snap, Crackle,
and
Pop?
then they found a way. Said, if we throw some butter and marshmallow in here and make treats out of them, we'll sell a lot more Rice Krispies.
I'm going to tell you something right now. If you've never had Cindy Curtis's Rice Krispie treats.
Well, sounds to me like the next time you come over here,
they are.
You need to be bringing some Rice Krispie.
She's got that down, Jack.
Fantastic.
To quote a phrase, do you have any more cereals that you can remember?
From back then? No, I think I wrote them all down. I had
I thought about another cereal that I was forced to eat a couple of times because I was out of everything else, and cereal was like breakfast, especially going to school. Do you remember grape nuts?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I love them actually now.
They're actually really good, but back then it was like, I'm
I
eating
like
a
'em.
dead cow.
Or I'm eating gravel with milk on it, Now my dad was big into the Raisin Bran.
I like Raisin Bran. I liked Raisin Bran back then.
And I
still
liked
do.
it back then too. As I got older, I did.
But you had to eat it quick.
But you had to eat it
Because
quicker.
if those bran flakes got really, really soggy, it was bad.
It went from, this is good to, that's disgusting in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you had to be real careful on that. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us today. And if you'd like to join us on the podcast online, you can do that at retroshow.net. You can be a supporter there. Just click on support this podcast. You can also
a producer.
become a producer for a mere $3 a month. Now, honestly, you'll never miss that money, but you're going to help keep us in Dr. Pepper Zeros. And,
Yep.
And,
we like Dr. Pepper Zero.
We like Dr. Pepper Zero. And you also at the website, you can find all of the places to listen to this podcast. So if you're ever wondering, like, man, I don't like where I'm listening to this now, well, just go out there. We got Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music, Stitcher, iHeart, and CastBox.
What?
Listen.
What was that last one?
CastBox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It's a thing, but someone may be listening to it. It's going, but like I said, also link to the Facebook page. We invite you to interact with us on the Facebook page. We are putting more content out there, and we just appreciate y'all.
For all you people in the UK, tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends.
You got to listen to these guys with that.
You got to listen to these Yanks. They're.
You know what's funny to me before we sign off? People come here to our state, and they'll say this: "I just love your accent." I don't have an accent.
You do.
You have an accent.
Now, obviously, when I go full radio, I get rid of all of that. I go totally Midwestern, but I don't for this.
Oh, by the way, my son Cannon says you have a great radio voice. What a coincidence!
Well, what a coincidence, Cannon. There's a story there of when I did radio. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. We will be back next time, and we hope you will too.
Yep.
I like all of you. I love some of you. No, that's the other way. I love all of you. I like some of you.
AMF, guys.